Hey everybody, Digital Sticks here, and I'm going to try to bring you my quick and simple buyer's guide to VR. And it's pretty simple. Basically, if you know what you're doing and you're not broke or incapable of saving money, or if you can come up with $1,000 to invest sensibly into VR and you know what you're doing, you will buy an index. Just if you know what VR is capable of, if you know what brings quality to your experience, you will buy an index. An index is not only your highest end headset, it's your best value in VR for an enthusiast. There are some people that are going to have if you have a passive interest in VR, then it may not be sensible to invest that much in something you would rarely use. Do you know what kind of interest you'll have? You're watching this video, there's a good chance you have more than just a passive interest in VR. The Oculus Quest 2 is now the entry-level headset because they got rid of their other entry-level headset. They're killing the Rift S, and so for the price point, you have, as a new headset, you have a Quest 2. A better value for VR, a better investment for moving forward to get into a more quality experience over time, would be if you can find a original Vive at a good price. $300 or less for a full kit is a good deal. Now, you have to buy one used. That's where the question mark comes in. But if you score a good one, it's a good deal. The controllers sometimes have issues with the Vive wands. In some respects, they were bulletproof. In other respects, they had different common malfunctions. There's a lot of ways to fix those yourself. But also, you can, of course, add or upgrade to the index controllers and you're set. You can even use original wands as Vive trackers. I'm not exactly sure how people go about attaching those securely, but it's been done. So if you were to get some wands that had clicking issues or anything like that still tracked, you could actually use them as trackers. So again, added value to your purchase. There's a Gear VR lens mod, so you can have zero God rays, perfect clarity, and then have the advantage of the OLED, so you've got those really vibrant colors. It's excellent in VR chat. There's a little bit of distortion with it. It didn't cause me any trouble in VR chat, but you can apply a fix to fix that. Just be aware if you apply the fix, it is through the base stations. So if you were to upgrade to an index or you start using another headset later, you would have to undo that fix to have that work properly. But again, and I won't go into all the details, I've covered it in other videos. I'm just simply laying it out. The features of the index provide enhancements to VR that are well worth a $700 price difference. And that price difference isn't even straightforward. There are accessories you will need for the Quest 2, and depending on just how much you intend to possibly use it mobily, you would not want to just get the 64 gigabyte version. If you're going to use it almost exclusively as a PC headset, 64 gigabyte version is most likely going to be fine for you. Okay, and then the other thing is, even if you get a Quest, your PC VR titles, if you can buy them on Steam VR, that's a much smarter place to purchase them. They are not tied to your Facebook account, so if anything goes amiss with your Facebook account, whether you manage to get banned or whether you just get into some drama, you just want to leave it alone or whatever, there's no reason to have your game purchases, especially PC VR game purchases, tied to Oculus. You can buy them on Steam VR, and you can upgrade to any headset later and simply have your purchases right there without having to use Link or having to use Revive or anything. If you move on from a Facebook headset, you can, if your games are through Steam VR, move on completely. You can get that spyware software off your computer. You don't have to run it at the same time you run Steam. It's a really good idea to not be tied to Oculus. If you have a Quest and you buy a Quest game, that's different. That's completely tied to your device, that's different. But Steam VR is the place to buy your games, and you want to play those games. So if you want to use wireless streaming, unless Facebook comes out with their own option, you have to use the virtual desktop solution anyways. So you will need those games on Steam to play through Steam VR. The virtual desktop wireless solution doesn't work with Oculus. And again, for VR chat is greatly enhanced in ways that, with the full body tracking. If you're in VR chat and you never crossed your mind, never had an interest in full body tracking, then okay. But if you've seen anybody dancing in VR chat, or just the fact that they float around while laying on their bed or whatever, anything about full body tracking that you've been interested in, then just keep that in mind. If you can get a headset that supports that natively, that uses Steam VR, so you can use the Vive trackers natively, that's your best bet. There are some hybrid options, but it's still best substantially to go straight with the Index, obviously, if that's in your price range, and Vive, if you can find it at a fair price to use and quality, that's going to be a good investment, especially for VR chat. But that's my simple buyer's guide. Essentially, the Quest is a gadget meant to sell VR to people who know little to nothing about VR, who may not have even cared about VR, or a console gamer who doesn't have a PC, they're fully invested in their somebody that is not anywhere in the market of a PC, obviously, then it's a standalone VR headset. But past that, when it comes to the PC VR functionality, it's a great bonus feature. But the thing that the Quest lacks, most importantly, when it comes to VR, is comfort. And even when you spend extra money for the extra mods and you try to get it there, you're still going to come up short of what you could have with just a legitimate PC VR headset. You're also going to come up short of what you could have if Oculus, Facebook, had cared to provide you a comfortable device. The thing is they want to drag in users and get those users stuck in their system. They want to hopefully make it some kind of viral product so that more people come in and share their data and have their privacy. All that is what Facebook is after. So if you'll see, they have a trend of making devices that, sure, they have a few talking points worth of upgrades, but they've been compromises throughout as well. They don't just simply make their product better. With the Quest, the build quality went down. They went to a single panel display. They went to this gadgety 3 different position IPD. They supposedly improved the audio by the head strap design or whatever, but it's still got to be the tinny sound. It's, if it's better, it's still a long ways off from what even the original Rift had. So all these compromises are in there. The cloth thing, that's probably not the end of the world. Some people are going to be upset that their white headset's going to look dingy after a while, but that's probably not the end of the world. The controllers, I hear some mixed reviews on the controllers. Honestly, the original design was better than the original Quest design. The original Rift design was better. Whether they've actually gone to the bulletproof nature of those originals, that's another question. But if it's really close, that's probably actually an improvement, even though some people have mixed feelings about it. The thumb rest is actually pretty nice, especially for a game like VR Chat, where you want your thumb to look rested without moving around accidentally all the time. So the controllers are okay, but a lot of other things on that are compromises, and one of the most impressive upgrades about it was the Snapdragon XR processor, and they're not even giving all that power towards gaming. That's being used in different ways. Some of it's being used to compensate for apparently a smaller battery, so that they can still hit the same battery life with a smaller battery, which the smaller battery is where they shaved off some of the weight that they tout real heavily for improving the comfort. But the responses on that are slim. There's not anyone that's just really been blown away by the comfort, because I can tell you there's been enough enthusiasm and enough people liked what the Quest could do that had they fixed the issue of comfort, people would be legitimately raving about it. They are not, and that makes it a significant compromise when it comes to PC VR. So there's a lot of different features. I won't go on talking points about the Index. I'm just simply going to leave it at that. You can certainly investigate more, learn more about what the Index offers. Keep watching some more reviews. If you come across some people that actually do comparisons, if they're honest, it should be pretty clear that, what you'll find the cons are on the Index, what people will, usually if somebody is really excited about the Quest, they're going to make a big deal out of having to set up the base stations for the Index. There's nothing to it. They're simple to set up. You set up your play space one time. It's good. That's just an attempt to support the hype they have for this other product. Obviously, the price difference is big, and they will obviously make a big issue out of that, but they won't get into the value discussion. A lot of times they will compare a handful of stats and, the resolution, and then they'll downplay some of the benefits, and they'll also make it look like that's all you're looking at is these few extra stats for this extra money. That is not the case. The comfort, the field of view, the higher refresh rate, and the quality audio, those are all features that collectively make a much, much, much better VR experience. And that's before you're getting into the features that it has, where if your PC, the more powerful your PC is, the more resolution you can run, the higher refresh rate, things like that. But just the extra quality that's in considerations has gone into some of the base features that aren't even dependent on your PC makes it a much better experience. And then for VR chat, having fingers, having native tracker support. So again, I want to keep this simple. That's a little bit of a ramble, but that's part of the talking points. And so honestly, if you're in a position that you can buy a Quest, or not a Quest, an Index reasonably, and you have a gaming PC, that's your best VR choice. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. You can still go with whatever you're inclined to go with. That's perfectly fine. But I'm just telling you from experience, from comparing different devices. Never actually hands-on with the Quest 2. I don't have a problem saying that. But the Index is just it. It's where the high-quality VR is at. Now, there's an HP Reverb G2 coming out. That's going to enter the discussion. It's going to be a very legitimate player in VR. It's got some compromises in the controller side of things that are really I think are going to make it a bad fit for a lot of VR experiences. It's going to be great for Sims for the most part, and that's going to be its best audience. But at $599, the extra $400 for an Index is going to make a much better, well-rounded, higher quality experience for just about everybody else, and especially people that are going to mostly play VR chat. You can't beat an Index, all the fidelity it has. In fact, it's a hard sell to say that Reverb G2 in VR chat is going to be even equal to a Quest in VR chat through Link, at least, because of the lack of capacitive touch on the controllers. It's a big deal. And of course, it's also got inside-out tracking. It's not going to be quite as good. It should be good enough to play the game, but you're not any better off if you decide you want full-body tracking. So for many, many reasons, I still believe the clear choice, clear winner, and best value for most people that want to be enthusiastic about VR is an Index kit. So I want to say that wholeheartedly, and I just want to put this out there because there is a lot of hype. But the hype is not honest. It's not a level playing field. It's running with talking points given by Facebook, and they're running with it because they get free items to review, and they get the following, and and it's better for YouTubers if they're hyping a product that people can actually afford and actually buy. So obviously, if you go hyping the Index and half your viewers can't afford an Index, then they're not going to be watching, they may not be watching nearly as much content. But if you hype a Quest and they can actually afford one, and then you turn around and you're talking about games on the Quest, and you're talking about accessories for the Quest, and you come up with a new Quest video every week, you're going to get a lot more viewers. So they have reasons on many levels to hype the Quest. I don't. And just as a VR user, as an enthusiast, as somebody that discovered VR with the original Rift, the Index is your best VR investment if you can make it happen, and you just need to be aware of that. If you can't, you can still enjoy VR on a Quest 2. If that's your decision and you're happy with it, that's also all that matters. And if you can't afford an Index, anything less than that, that's still a full range PCVR headset. If you can run that, you're, depending on how far away you are from getting one, if the VR experience, quality VR, even if it's less than what it could be, is still worth having. And there is certainly a point where buying something that's just going to hold you over is a better value than going without VR and waiting till you can buy the best. Especially by the time you can possibly buy the best, it's about to be replaced by something else. And then you're stuck, do you buy it or do you wait even longer? So, getting into VR versus not getting into VR is, in most cases, the best move. What's not a good move, and the other thing that I did want to point out here, and I'll end on this, is no new headset is worth paying scalping overhead for. If you can find a quality used headset, which is a gamble because it's used, so there is that, but if you find a headset that's quality, still in full working condition, lenses are in good shape, everything's there, and it's used, even if it's a Gen 1 Rift or especially if it's a Vive kit, that's got a lot of potential still, then that's a better value than the markup for a scalped product. So if they start scalping the Quest or the Index I think is about to become, the stock issues around it are about to improve. I think they already have improved some, but so having to wait a little bit for that is worth it. But paying a markup for it, it's not. Things will settle out one way or another soon enough. Don't rip yourself off. But again, just a quality PCVR device of any kind that's at a fair price is going to be better than ripping yourself off for the device you want right now. The other option, what is and should remain abundantly available for a cheap price, is the original Quest. And most of those weren't used that much. So the trouble is their comfort. They lack comfort severely. And so you're going to have to mod it or find a way to be able to cope with that. But that would still be a much better investment than paying a ridiculous scalping price for a new product, because it's just a matter of time before things straighten out. So don't get yourself ripped off. Any headset from Gen 1 on that's PCVR capable is at a fair price is a good investment. It just may not be your best investment, depending on what your personal options and preferences are. So take all of this with a grain of salt, and hopefully this helps people make a good quality decision. But definitely the Quest 2 has its good sides, its positive sides, and the price point is undeniably good. So it's not a rip-off in that sense, but it is being overhyped relative to probably what people would want if they were making a more honestly informed decision. So I'm Digital Sticks. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.